Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to say call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakah HaKodash. Send double honors once again to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to all you Akim out there pushing the word sincerity and truth. We're back at it with the part two, as promised, of this World War III algorithm of energy, famine, and inflation. They all are wrapped around each other, and we was talking about in the previous algorithm part one how it's all a setup. We see the strains on the energy markets. We see pumping of dollars into the economy to inflate the currency. We see strains of the supply chain systems and just the artificial reduction of supply of goods and services around the world. And it's all used to create chaos. And it's all used to create chaos. And one of the big parts of that chaos is going to be famine. And it's not going to be famine in one. There's some Ethiopians with their stomachs all bulged out. What we're going to see is the Western world, even here in America, be strained out for goods and services, for access to energy. And we talked about how petroleum and oil is a part of everything you buy, everything you put your hands on. Petroleum touches it. And and so we wanted to touch on that. But before we get deeper into these prophecies and show how what we see out in the world pertains to biblical prophecies, this page that I have pulled up right here for people that are new, for people that have not been around for a long time, this page right here is called GMS LA Ash. I want if you go to this page and you click on playlists, there are several playlists that are foundational for you to really come into this truth and understand what the hell we're talking about. They got basic breakdowns, but the specific one that I'm highlighting is this one here. There's a full 67-part series as this, whichever brother put this up on the book of Revelation. If you have not watched this whole playlist, taken notes and studied, a lot of the things that we're talking about here today in the World War III algorithm may be going over your head. Okay. You need to make sure that you're listening to the apostles and elders and getting those breakdowns, getting with your camp is, whatever camp you're in or whatever camp you attend. These are foundational breakdowns. So you go here and you can click on play all and get your notebook out. And the apostles and elders did a comprehensive breakdown of the book of Revelation.
Slakia, Elder. I was going to say, you know what you can do? You can click the save button and it will add the playlist to your channel.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, save button, y'all.
Yeah. And you click on that, then it will be on your channel. So brothers can go straight.
Put it in the algorithm.
No, hold on. No, the actual, sorry, on the right hand side, right? You see on the right. Yeah, there's a little, that one. No, the one, but yeah, save playlist. That will save the whole playlist to your channel. So that playlist will be on your channel now. So they should be able to get it from there.
Okay. Yeah. So do that. Make sure you're getting this up in you if you have not seen that. Okay. If you have not gone through that. All right. With no further ado, though, we want to get into this lesson and just kind of it's a continuation. Did you have any opening statements up?
No.
All right. So what I want to do is I want to pull the scripture one of the brothers posted into the chat the other day because I felt like it was foundational. Sirach chapter 39, verse 26. It says, the principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. All these things are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned to evil. And this is what we're going to see, because the world is engulfed in absolute wickedness. The natural use of the earth is being restricted from man. So the use of water, fire, iron, salt, all of these goods, all these when you look into economics, they call them commodities, are being strained out. Right now, the metals market is in a hyper inflated, it's going berserk. Why? Because those things are necessary to build all the things you see in the world, and it's being restricted from the market. We're going to talk about wheat. Okay. Right now, a lot of one of the main stipulations that Russia had for their region over in Donbass or whatever is because they're restricting water into Crimea. So one of the things that Russia wanted was for the water to be opened up into Crimea. All of these things can be turned into evil and create war and create calamities amongst the people if they're strained out. Now, you read verse 28, it says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. And so we're going to talk about some of those things, particularly famine, in today's lesson. Now, I had a couple of clips. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this so I don't get confused by it. I want to play this clip right here. It's a really good clip. I sent this to myself. I even sent the time marker. Let me check and see what time marker I put for myself. I believe I want to say it was real quick. Let's see this real quick. Sent. That's actually not it. Let me see. There it is. This is what I want to play. Let me play this real quick.
Okay, so let's look at
now. The reason I was talking to Required Quam, and I've been playing a lot of Glenn Beck clips because he's just been on point. And usually I switch it up. I'll get information from this place. I'll get information from that place. But to be perfectly honest, Glenn Beck has been so on point. His videos have just been better than all the other ones I've watched. He's packing it down in small bites, 13, 15-minute, 20-minute clips. And he's getting to the point, and he's talking about exactly what we've been saying over all these years. He just don't put scriptures to it. We come and show you how what he's saying is in the Bible. And it is leading to the MOTB. You know? Now, there's certain mindset that he have that we don't deal with. Of course, obviously he's not an Israelite, and he doesn't really understand all of that. You're not going to save America. You're not going to fight back. It's over. All the things that we see happening with the gas going up, we love it because it's biblical. These things must needs be done to get up out of here. The more calamity you got something up?
Yeah.
Let's go, champ.
Just to justify why we got your boy Glenn Beck up on the screen, Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, and 12th chapter and 3, it says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. And Glenn Beck would be considered as one of those kind of people. He's like a forecaster. That's kind of like his job. He does like social commentary, and he kind of tries to predict based upon current events, future events. You know, and you know, when you listen to a lot of these honest economists, guys like Gerald Celente, for years their outlook has been dark. So it's prophecy, you know. So we're gonna refer to these analysts and these guys to show, because these current events are prophecy unfolding as well and leading to a greater manifestation.
Absolutely. So that, you know, you're gonna see me use a lot of his clips because, you know, and he even mentioned in one of his latest videos, he was just like, man, he's like, I've been blessed with being able to connect dots. You know, now he's not connecting the prophetic dots in that way, but when he's looking at things socially and economically, There's a lot of dots that he's connecting. That's like when I'm watching the video, I'm like, yep, that's Revelation this. Yep, that's Daniel. Yep, it says that in Second Ezra. Yep, it fits. That's exactly what's happening through the Spirit, you know? So I'm going to play this clip. And for those of you who have not seen this clip, y'all going to see, oh, yeah, that is pretty on point.
Car interiors, glasses, any of these other things.
So you can go watch this. I'm not going to play the whole thing. But before this, he just gives a laundry list, which we did in the previous Algo, of all the things that petroleum is used to make, which, like, you know, I know, you know, you got nosy people that watch these live streams. They looking all in the background of your house and stuff. Everything you see in the background, petroleum was involved, from the window to the picture frames, this laptop, the keys, this light that's shining down, this probably a shirt, the chair I'm sitting in. Petroleum was used to make it. These glasses I got on,
and the logistics as well to transport,
and the logistics to get it to the store that I bought it from. Petroleum was involved, right? So you messed that up, you got some serious issues going on. Okay,
that's what a cracker does. That is always running at 100% because there's never enough styrofoam and plastic to cover all the meat. So we always run these things 100.
So he talks about a cracker. When you break down petroleum, you a portion of it is turned into gasoline. The rest is called a cracker, which is broken down into different elements to make all these goods that we utilize. Specifically, when you go to the store and buy some ground beef, you see it's wrapped. So that stuff is getting, you need that every day being pumped. People are constantly consuming. So you have to constantly have this stuff be made.
Percent capacity. They are now being backed off to 80% capacity because the crackers run by crackers, I would assume. Oh my gosh, why would you assume that? Well, because they're evil.
You see, he just broke it down. The crackers ran by crackers. So he's talking about the Edomites.
And he thinks he's trying to make a joke because he's against the whole idea of the evil Edomite man. But it's true.
Yep.
Esau is the head of all of this wickedness. It ain't run by Jake, is it?
Yep.
It's not Jay-Z.
Yep. It's not run by China. It's ran by Edomites, so-called white men.
With the Rockefellers, they're the one that revolutionized the use of oil. You know, what was it, Standard Oil? And then they had to break it up into all these other mini companies like Shell, British Petroleum, all of them. They all go back to Standard Oil, which is owned by the Rockefellers.
Yep.
And the rest of the elite.
Yep, and even when you go into some of these foreign countries, the people who actually own it, they might look like Moabites or might look like they're Venezuelans, but they're actually Spaniards, British, Australians. Their lineage actually goes back to Edomites.
Well, we could mention the House of Sword. They're Amalekites.
Yep, great example. Yep, you talking about the Saudi Arabians?
Yeah, specifically the royal family.
Yep, those are the Amalekites.
Them Ottomans.
100%. See?
That's why.
I just want to hear him say it again.
Does backed off to 80% capacity because the crackers run by crackers, I would assume. Oh my gosh, why would you assume that? Well, because they're evil. That's why. Anyway, the crackers running the crackers say we can't make enough money because there's going to be a price destruction. There's going to be demand destruction. People aren't going to want that little plaything for their baby made out of plastic because it's going to cost way too much money. So if you thought that there was a problem with supply and demand, you ain't seen nothing yet. And when people are telling you, well, we're willing to pay higher prices for gas, are you? Because I've never met that person before. Never.
Hey, Silakia, you Arkham, put the price of gas where you at, man. I know you brothers is from all over the world, all over America.
Great.
Put the price of gas where you at in your different states, you know, in the comment board, man, so we could see that it's happening in real time.
Yep, I'm gonna start right here, bro. In the land of Liberty, Texas. We right there with it. Where y'all at? What y'all getting hit with? Where y'all at, brothers, sisters? What y'all paying for y'all gas? This is gonna be fun. A little social experiment. All right, we'll keep playing this.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Yeah, that's a fascinating one too, because he doesn't care because he says he drives a Tesla.
Yeah,
totally ignoring the fact that this is not just an oil crisis; it's an energy crisis.
Right.
It's a rare metals and rare minerals crisis.
Right.
For example, guess what gets put into every Tesla? A lot of it. Nickel. Just
went up
$67
yesterday. Nickel.
And it's China and Russia who control all of this stuff.
Oh, wait a minute.
So go ahead with your electric cars and act as if it makes us, less energy independent.
And when you see the price of everything going up, just remember the people who are leading you to this are the ones that say we have to get rid of fossil fuels. Less than half of each barrel goes to gasoline. The rest of that barrel goes to make everything else we have grown accustomed to.
So they want to constrict the access towards petroleum around the globe when that is utilized for everything, forcing, hyperinflating the prices of everything, so you will beg for a new system. So you will beg for a green energy change. So you will beg for a digital, renewable energy source that they're going to conveniently have ready to roll out for you. Okay?
Everything else. So when you think that your friends tell you, well, the price, it's worth it, really, you cannot disconnect the price of oil and the price of gasoline to the price of food or plastic or anything else that you are used to buying.
It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So, and if you don't think that they don't already know that, you're an idiot. They know that. They know that. I know that. Like Canelo said, I know that. You won't pay day. You won't pay day. I know that. They know that that's going to create absolute mayhem. And just like when they shut down the ports, they knew that was going to cause a problem down the line. They knew that. It's a controlled demolition. All right. Did you have any precepts or anything that you want to bring out?
No.
All right. Because this is where we're going to open up the gates right here. Let me find this clip real quick. Get to it right about chill. I'm just going to let it play.
And you own it yourself.
So then why are you concerned about the Great Reset and everything else with them shutting all of these services down? If you believe that Bitcoin can't be stopped, because if it wasn't illegal or whatever, they weren't trying to stop it, I'd be like, fine, let all that stuff burn down. I don't want to use any of that stuff.
Well, that's what we're building now. So my job in the overall game is to ensure communications stay open. I mean, literally, we're protecting free speech by making podcasting uncancelable. That's my job. And to make sure that people can get paid and to show them how to do it. There's a whole bunch. You can't just expect people to start sending you money if you don't know how to ask. Strangely enough, my wife is a semi-retired communications officer, Ronald McDonald House Charities, etc. And she said the number one reason people don't give money to a charity is they weren't asked.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the Beef Initiative, which is started here in Texas by my buddy Texas Slim. He kind of came out of semi-retirement. He's my age. And he is now going to ranchers and he's getting them hooked up through Bitcoin payment systems and but really explaining and helping people understand food intelligence. What are you putting in your mouth? Where is it coming from? Because the food processors, of which there's like 4, dude, they're going bugs. They're going bugs. They're going synthetic. They're going genetically engineered bugs. They want you to become a bug.
And they admit it.
See that? See, when they start ridiculously driving up these prices for everything, they already have the plan of taking you into a system of rationing, just a slave system. And if you notice, they've been talking about them creating more things from just synthetic foods, beyond meat, making meat out of bugs. This is the new form of protein that you're going to be eating because it's too expensive for you to eat beef.
Yep. That's why Netflix has been running all them programs, demonizing meat, demonizing milk, demonizing everything. Crazy.
It's a controlled demolition.
I got some before you carry on there, can I drop 2 articles real quick?
Let's go, champ.
I got this not even articles, but I'm on Ice Age Armor's Telegram.
Okay.
And
I can't see your screen, bro.
Oh, Salaki, let me share the screen. This one fresh off the press. Where is it? Share the screen. That's why if you ain't following Ice Age Farmer, the guy, he does good work, man.
Yeah, because he's been Ice Age Farmer's been on talking about this for, man, you put me on Ice Age Farmer some years ago, but he was going in from like 2009 or something like that, maybe before that.
Yeah, he gives a well-grounded outlook towards the situation, you know, the weather, but also the fact that the elites are playing into it as well. They're adding to it. But yeah, if you look here, it says Germany rationing of cooking oil began.
Can you zoom in on that?
No, I can't.
You can't. Okay, it's okay.
But it basically says Germany rationing of cooking oil began 7 days ago. Now also staples like rice, flour, milk, and sugar.
Man,
so they're rationing foods already in Germany. And it says here, the UK, the National Farmers Union, has warned of a huge drop in UK grown crops, including a drop of up to 50% in the amount they can afford to grow due to explosion of prices of gas used to heat glass houses, right? So I could tell you for a fact here in the UK, they've had several problems with the farming. Not only the weather has been very erratic, but also they're having a problem with getting, because a lot of the farming in the Europe relies on migrant workers. Same in America. I think a lot of Mexicans come across the border to work for like 2-3 months in the meat packing industry and in the farms. And since they had the Brexit thing, they've been finding it very difficult to get these seasonal workers. So that's been causing a problem. And then now on top of all that, you got the increase in the prices, which is going to affect it. So producers are saying the number of cucumbers that will be grown annually could fall from 80 million to 35 million, while pepper production could have halved from 100 million. She also added that inflation was leading to dramatic rises in other areas, citing the example of cost of raising a chicken increasing by 50% in a year for farmers. Damn. So you know chicken and chips about to go up. Yeah, I just wanted to show that real quick. Things are happening, man.
Big time. Hey, and that's why I got this in Ezekiel, but I got the NLT version because it kind of gives you the wording in a way that's more modern. Ezekiel 4:9 says, "Go now and get some wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, and emmer wheat, and mix them together in a storage jar. Use them to make bread for yourself during the 390 days you will be lying on your side. Ration this out to yourself, 8 ounces of food for each day, and eat it at set times. Then measure out a jar of water for each day and drink it at set times." This is what's going to be. This is how it's going to be, man. You're going to be having to be rationed out. Your food, your fuel, All right, they're gonna probably be allowing you to run a certain percent of wattage per day on your electricity. Then they'll shut you down.
Yep.
Okay, you'll shut yourself down because you won't be able to afford the bill.
And if I could say this, man, the scripture said about in Babylon breaking the staff of bread, it's gonna hit America so hard because they haven't been prepared for these food shortages.
That's right.
In actual fact, the government of America they've tried to stop people growing their own food. They tried to outlaw people getting seeds. Like, they've literally done everything to put the people in a vulnerable situation. Whereas if you go to China, because they've been having problems for a long time. I'm sure brothers remember how we was mentioning that the massive amounts of flooding China has been experiencing for the last 2 years. Like, their grain crops have been getting hammered. And there's rumors that a lot of their grain stores through corruption were rotten. So they had to rush out onto the market and buy up. And in 2020, let me share my screen again. Hold on, let me share my screen and show you. See, we've been watching, man. The scriptures say be circumspect, redeeming the times, because the times are evil, man. The majority of people, as the scriptures say in Isaiah 47, when the evil riseth, they shall not know from whence it rises, because they were too busy concerned with Kim Kardashian and Kanye and all of this foolishness. And they weren't keeping their eye on the ball. Now, this was back in 2020. China launched a clean plate campaign against food waste. So the communist government, they basically decided to clamp down on food wastage. Now, why do you think they did that? They went so far as, if you know, you got them YouTubers that eat food. I don't know if you've ever seen it. You get people that sit there and they'll just eat like a whole table of food.
Yeah, I seen this one big fat Jake drinking a, huge bathtub worth of soda, and stuff in his face. Yeah.
Yeah, well, basically, they in China, that was banned. You go jail for that now. You can't do videos where you're overindulging in food.
Yeah.
Another thing they do in China, it's actually part of Chinese culture. When they go up,
you used to be over eating a sandwich, and you take a big bite, so you come slap this, hit you in the back of your neck.
Right. There was another thing in Chinese culture. When they go out to eat, they always order more than what they eat. So each person would order like 3 plates. So they end up with like a huge table, like a feast. That's how they eat when they go to eat. They don't just order for themselves. And then obviously whatever don't get ate, they take home or whatever. That got banned. So when you go out to eat in a group now in China, you can only order 1 plate per person.
Man, this is folly, man. This is folly, bro. This is pure folly, bro. Come on, man. This is folly, man.
Yeah, this stuff. Yeah.
I don't usually like soggy, and I tend to like it when they're really soggy.
In China, they come beat your ass.
Yeah, that's banned in China now. You're not allowed to do this. You'd be going to the gulag immediately, and they're taking your organs. So, yeah, that just shows you that
look at this, man.
That shows you that China knew what was coming down the pipeline, and they started to make. But what were they doing in America?
This dude got 44 million views doing this BS, man.
Bro, they be making money just sitting there eating, bro.
This don't make no damn sense.
People sit there and watch people eat, man. Some creepy Edomites probably bashing off. But anyway, Esau will be onto some real perverse. But yeah, that's how it is, man.
Yeah, man.
So that all that stuff should have been a telltale sign, But you have to have your eyes open. You have to understand prophecy, and through the prophecy, the scriptures speak about being awake. you know, being awake, having your eyes open, so you're seeing these things happening. So the scripture said, "A prudent man foreseeth the evil, but the simple pass on and are punished." Because, like I said, if the information you're consuming is all celebrity based, this rapper and you know what beef this rapper got and whose woman is he popping, and Drake is Kiki, can you is Kiki Rihanna, or is Kiki, you know what I'm saying, or is Kiki Kim Kardashian, and all. When your mindset is stuck in that distraction, that amusement, you're not going to notice these things that have been happening over the last 7-8 years that we've been documenting it. So to you, when the famine comes, it's going to happen overnight. But to us, it's like, well, this has been on the cards. You know?
Yeah, man. People gonna get caught up in that time, man. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read the scripture real quick. Revelation chapter 18, verse 6. It says, "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her," talking about Babylon the Great, "and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much hath she glorified herself and lived deliciously? So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow."
Right, the abundance, man. Like America was like a very fruitful land. In fact, at one time, America was the bread basket of the world. People don't realize that land was once known as Canaan. That's why when the Puritans came over and they saw America and they saw Canada, they said, "This is Canaan."
That's her right there. That's the whole
and in America, there's such an abundance of food. It's even affected American cuisine. That's why if you're into, I'm a foodie, so I love everything to do with food, man. I'll be watching all the cooking programs, right? And what they'll tell you is good cuisine comes from restrictions. So most places in the world are restricted. So you have to come up with ways to cook what you got and make it good because you ain't got a lot. Whereas in America, they got an abundance of steak. So you ain't got to do nothing. Just cook a damn steak. That's it. Because they got all that abundance, man. You know, there's places in the world, like I got a guy I work with, he's from, I think, Uganda. Bro, they barely eat meat, man. Because to eat meat, they got to kill a cow. That's a rare thing to do. Their diet is mainly vegetarian because they can't afford to be killing all the cows. Whereas in America, they be just, you know what I mean? They got cow meat on tap, literally. But that's gonna come to an end.
That's right. Right.
Yeah, luxury. Eating meat. You know what?
It's a luxury.
Eating meat is a luxury, man.
It is.
The Western diet, they eat meat in every meal for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. Some places in the world, they eat meat like once in a while.
Yeah, it's not common. That's right. Yep, there were Stenaho, and Stranos. I think that's how you say it.
Strong's G 4764. Strenos.
Excessive strength, which longs to break forth. Luxury, eager desire. All right.
Yeah, it always reminds me of I don't know if brothers have seen the movie Shutters, but there's a scene in the movie Shutters where he's staying with his auntie, and his auntie sends him into the shop to get some tin mackerel, and he was upset because he got to eat tin mackerel again, and she said, I want to make you go to America with your mother where you can yam steak. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah. Now wait till they get shut off, man. You think these people are on antidepressants now over here in the States? Wait till you can't go and do this no more. Well, you can't be this no more. Wait till that's cut off. This right here is getting ready to be cut all the way off. All that is getting ready to come to an end. The whore of Babylon is getting cut off. Okay? That's gonna come to an end, bro. This is ridiculous, man.
Damn, look at her elbow, bro.
Yeah. Yep. We would have healed Babylon, but she will not be healed. Absolutely not. Okay. And so that's going to get cut off. All of that's getting cut off. That living deliciously and all that is getting ready to get cut off. We read here, Revelation 8:7, how much has she glorified herself and lived deliciously, luxuriously. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I said, a queen, I am no widow, and I shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. And all the nations that are attached to this place are going to be judged as well.
Yep.
It's going to be a grand exit for how all this stuff is happening. Through pride, they think they're going to switch into a more secure, an even more secure system where they're the gods completely of creation, of everything. They want everything booked. Book them down.
They planning on creating the food, bro.
That's right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And you know what they call it, flipping. I forgot the process they call it, man. But it's just like, damn. You know, he want to create the food.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. He says, yeah, he says, somebody said, yep, one of my friends on a 90,000 acre ranch. It says, take a wrench, and for some reason, some people came and he gave up half his ranch, joined the military and they were selling Black Angus. Yep, they probably got bought out. You know, a lot of these people, they have to take loans, and you know, they don't know what they signed on to. You know, boom. Brother GMS Vegas sit down, put Sirach 11 and 25. In the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction. In the day of affliction, there is no remembrance of prosperity. We're gonna see that switch be flipped very soon. We're gonna see that all be switched up soon. Mm-hmm. Okay, kind, yeah, bro. Brother trying to make it right. Okay. He said they were selling Black Angus and heifers in Virginia. Okay. And they got bought out. They only want a couple of people to own anything.
Yeah, and it's like, if you notice, when they're buying the land, they're not using it because that's part of Agenda 2030. They want the land to go back to nature or something. Basically, in a roundabout way, they're just cutting it down because they want to cut the population.
Yep. All right. Did you have anything else that you want to go in on?
We could keep it rolling.
Okay.
It's right there. It's right there. They admit it. It's right there. It's cheaper to do. It's going to be much better for you. And you see all these things creeping up. You see them creeping up. And now I'm hearing in the Ukraine news, climate change news. It's coming. They would be crazy not to trigger it now. But when they do, there will be hopefully enough people who have built up enough networks to be able to exchange goods and conduct capitalist commerce amongst themselves, because we're all kind of switched on. Believe me, you will not be able to buy beef directly from your rancher through the central US processing money system. They're not going to let you do that. They're going to stop you. They're going to say, "Oh, your digital dollars are great, but you can only buy your beef here." But how is the farmer going to
see that? So once everybody's squeezed out and the money system that we currently live in is worth nothing, you don't have any restricted access. All right. And you restricted access to certain things. They says, hey, we gonna give you these digital dollars, but you can only get it from this place, this place, this place. Point blank, period. It's gonna be very well controlled. Okay.
Control his land because of global warming. He'll be taxed out of business, or go to jail, or whatever it is. I mean, they to complete this, they have to impoverish all of us.
Happening as we speak.
They have to make sure that we don't own anything at all.
Happening as we speak.
Right. So we're renting from them. If you have land, the chance of you keeping that land, especially if you are running beef.
Well, it's funny. The brother he's talking about this right now on the comment board. You know?
Okay, so here's where my generation screwed up. In the 80s and 90s, man, I was rocking it. You know, we were doing fantastic stuff, having a great time. I didn't look at who was the land commissioner or who is.
Okay, so that's the point on that, man. That's the point on that. You know, basically, they're just showing you how there's a transition, and they want to turn on this global reset, and all of these different components of hyperinflation, energy prices going up. Okay. The supply chain being restricted, mandates to the jab where you can only have access to certain things. It's all leading into the MOTB. It's all leading you into this one world system that all these nations leaders, and you think that Putin is fighting with Biden, and then Xi Jinping is trying. They're all in the same umbrella of trying to do one thing. And they all come together with Babylon. All right. Revelation 18:9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Okay. So when you read Revelation 17, you read about this war that the 10 horns is coming up against the beast system. They all going to fight over the control of this new world order system that's being established. All right, this MOTB system is what they're really gonna fight over. So that's why we tell people until you see that system being truly implemented and laid down, we know it's not the War of Armageddon yet. Okay, that's coming. That's coming. Okay. So until then, what we're gonna see is systematic shutdowns that leads to regional famines, large-scale famines across multiple countries across the West. And, you know, you best to believe that it's going to hit the poor parts of Europe and the Arab nations. Then it's going to start hitting, you know, all these other parts. Okay. Did you have some up? I was going to turn it over to you. I wanted you to talk a little bit more about these famines and how they come into play, you know?
Yeah,
really kind of go in on that.
Yep. We can go in on that.
Okay, I got you on.
Right. Yes, I think we kind of touched on it before. If you go to the Bible dictionary and you look up famine, it goes into, you know, different sections. So it talks about famines coming from you can get famine because of the weather. All right, so irregularities of rain, destructive hailstorms, which we have seen that. We've heard us talk before about something called the grand solar minimum, something that I learned about through what's his name,
Ice Age Farmer.
Yeah, Ice Age Farmer, and I looked into it, and it's true. It's basically what it's talking about is alteration of the sun. The sun goes into different cycles, where at one point it will be cooler, and one point it will be hotter, and depending on that can affect the weather on the earth. And it's very interesting is when they traced it back, a lot of times of grand solar minimums coincided with the fall of empires. Now you might say, oh, that's the sun, but really, who controls the sun? When you go into the scriptures, it's the Heavenly Father. He created the sun as a sign of the times.
That's right. The scriptures talk about that. You see the constellations, you see the stars and the sun and the moon. They start to do things, and it affects.
They have an effect. Yep. Yeah, it definitely has an effect. That's one of the reasons why these goofy heathens started worshiping the sun, because they saw the effect that the sun and the moon would have on the earth. Like the moon has the tides and all that, and they start thinking that the moon is God and the sun is God, but it's not. Let's get that scripture in case brothers don't know about that scripture. Wisdom of Solomon 7:18. This is one of the knowledges that Solomon had. says the beginning, ending, in the midst of the times, the alterations of the turning of the sun and the change of seasons. And so right now, the earth is going into a very chaotic and tumultuous season where there's very erratic weather patterns and the growing seasons are changing. And that's also a prophecy. If we go into what is it, 2 Ezra 15? Yeah, Slacking. Let me get that up real quick. 2 Ezra 15.
2 Ezra 15.
Everything that is in prophecy, it manifests itself in the real world. This is not fairy tale. The Bible's not a fairy tale book. It's not about being carnal. It's just at the end of the day, the spiritual things manifest into physical things.
Yep.
This is not fairy tales. Things have to happen in reality. You know, they have to manifest in one way, shape, or form. And that's what we're doing. We're showing you the manifestation of the word of the Heavenly Father. Here we are, 2 Ezra 15. It says here, verse 13. 12, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and the punishment that God shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn. All right, and we've been seeing that, like I said, over the last 8 years, the weather has just been decimating farmers worldwide. Not only the weather, but if you notice in this, it also mentions what? Ravaged by insects. There's also been various plagues of locusts, and other kind of insects that affect plants. I don't know all the different names, but if you look at it over the years, there's been a lot of plagues, man. Different types of worms and stuff like this. Also, you have different types of molds. There's different molds that can disease crops. That's been a big issue over the last 8 years or so. All right, which is, it's all the work of the Lord. Yeah, where we at? Yeah, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and the hail. Right? I don't know if you brothers remember what's it called? A derecho that happened like a couple years back in America, just wiped out a whole bunch of farmland. The blasting and the hail, right? With a fearful constellation, right? And then it goes on. If we read on, it will tell you about woe to the world, and it'll tell you about the lack of bread. Okay, so it mentions that. It mentions the weather. It mentions the insects. It mentions war. Right, because a siege can cause a famine. All right, so it says by enemies, Deuteronomy 28 and 51, in a city, a famine might be caused by a siege. 2 Kings 6 and 25. Pestilence often followed in its wake, and the suffering was great, right? Because that's going to happen too. A lot of disease, a lot of people are not going to have access to medication. They're not going to have access to clean running water. They're going to be malnourished. Right, and that leads to death, disease. And then it goes into you. If I was you, I'll go to this article, and it gives you a lot of scriptures that you could do your homework on, and it just goes through all these different famines, all the way through the scriptures. Famine has been there, whether you want to go back to the time of Jacob, the famine in Egypt. You know, there's always been famines. Even I remember in the New Testament, you had the dearth, right? That happened.
Yep. Yeah. It's in Acts 11th chapter.
Right. Okay. So it's nothing new. Now, what it says here is divine relations. Famines are frequently said to be sent as punishments, sometimes threatened as such. Then we got Leviticus 26:19, Deuteronomy 28:49 and 51, and on and on. The righteous or godly should be preserved by God in the time of famine. Job 5 and 20. In famine, he will redeem thee from death. Psalms 33 and 19, to keep them alive in famine. In the days of famine, they shall be satisfied. This was a special mark of divine favor and power. That's why, you know, if you're of the elect, you ain't going to have to worry about of dying from the famine. But what are some of the reasons? Well, like we mentioned, conflict, high food prices through what lack of supply, or even inflation of the currency, can cause high food prices, which we're having both right now at the same time. Imagine that. Natural disasters, extreme climate, lack of humanitarian access. All these things can lead to famine. Now, going back to World War II, all right, I have found this article because what goes hand in hand with war is famine as well. So the famine is only going to get worse and worse and worse. Then you're going to have the MOTB, and the famine's still going to get worse. Then you're going to have World War III, and the famine's even going to be worse then. Right? And if you can have here, if you look at the numbers back in World War II, well, you had 7 to 9 million people died in the Soviet Union alone from famine.
God.
Okay, all over Europe there were people dying, man. Food was hard to come by. Why? Because of the breakdown in the logistics. And you see that happening in Ukraine and these places already. Now, what I wanted to pick out real quick in this article was where it speaks about entitlements and rationing. All right, it says food rationing was almost universal during the war. Rations generally reflected some definition of need, whereby the military and those engaged in heavy labor were granted extra calories, and women and children generally were entitled to less. And that goes into something that we've spoken about before. This is why you have something called your recommended, what's it called? Is it allowance?
Yeah.
They have it on, I'm sure in America, you
talking about on the back of the box?
On the back of the box, yeah, it will tell you what your recommended amount is by male or female. I'm sure it does. And there's a reason that's been put on there globally as a standard, because that's leading towards the rationing system that they're gonna bring.
Yeah.
In Britain,
find something that got it on there.
Go ahead. It says in Britain, invalids were entitled to extra food in exchange for sugar entitlements, blah, 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 blah. Now, I've got a clip here because that's what it's, as these crises increase, that's what they're going to do. They're going to bring in this rationing system, and that's going to form part of the mark of the you-know-what. And I've got a clip here from when me and the brothers went to the Imperial War Museum. This was years ago, way back. Me and the brother Pasha Allah and we were looking at the exhibit, and what were we speaking about? The MOTB.
It's a baby or a child. Everyone was issued with a rationing book. You didn't get a family rationing book. You got every individual had a rationing book. That's what it's going, and it's going to be the same thing with the chip. Okay, everybody was issued with a ration book, and shoppers had to register with the local grocer and butcher. Sugar, butter, and bacon were the first items to be rationed.
So you can go and check this video out, but this is something that we've been bringing out for a long time, and it's going to become a reality.
Yep.
Did you have something you wanted to bring out?
No, I was just saying how it said on that sugar, butter, and bacon was some of the first things that had to be rationed. You know, and you even when we had the shutdowns and everything like that, they was rationing. You could only get a couple of loaves of bread. You can only get so much water. You know, and stuff like that. So, oh yeah, that's coming back in a big way.
Yep. And again, you know, they mentioned it here about so-called climate change, which really is the grand solar minimum is taking a bite out of our food supply. So they know that all these things are happening. So let's get down to these articles here. We'll try and get a bits out of them real quick.
Serving size, kind of, that's it. You recommended serving size.
That's the one. Like we have the same thing over here in UK as well. It's an international standard. It says the Great Reset will be forced upon America by Biden's two-pronged attack upon the American food supply. And it ain't Biden. This is something that all these presidents have built up to, because these presidents are just puppets.
That's right.
So we'll read through a couple of these points real quick. I know the brother's got but it says attack strategy, the 7 elements of progressive attack upon the American food supply. So you got the government has allowed China to own 34 million acres of land, so you get the connotation there. Most farmers require affordable loans made available by various federal programs. When Biden came into office, he disallowed white farmers to apply for these loans, so that they're destroying the farmers. America imports parts of its food supply. The impaired supply chain serves to exacerbate the problem. So they're more and more reliant on imports, especially fertilizer. I'm just coming through these points quickly. Biden deliberately gutting of the Americans' energy production capabilities have greatly compromised the affordability of food, which we showed a clip on that. At the beginning of the so-called, the 19 meat packing plants were closed down and millions of cattle were ordered to be slaughtered.
Look at that.
So self-inflicted. American farmers are facing a profound fertilizer shortage. Okay. And fertilizer, because they don't keep the land Sabbath, fertilizer is actually very important for yields. Without fertilizer, some yields drop as much as 60%, which makes the crop economically unviable. But the farmer just won't plant it.
Yeah.
The most important consideration with regard to the assessment of food availability in the United States comes back to war. Food will go to the war effort to understand the potential impact of war on our food affordability and ability. All one has to do is look at food availability in World War II, which we already did that because we're prudent like that. So we go. Yeah, we does this. Strategy 2, the administrative law control of food and food distribution, because they've actually got executive orders on the books for the government to take control of all commodities. So Executive Order 13603 in 2011, Obama enacted 13603, which allows for the introduction of slave labor. Right. So what is the MOTB system? Also, slavery.
Yep.
It's perpetual slavery. So through a crisis, they can actually recruit the entire American population for slavery. Yep. So they put you on universal basic income because you ain't gonna have no job anyway.
Because all the jobs are petroleum based. So once they turn those systems off, they're gonna need you to go into different systems that you're not accustomed to. But in order to activate your credits, you're gonna have to go into labor camps.
There you go,
and
labor camps
for the good of the nation, for the good of your country.
Yep, that's exactly what it's gonna be, man. Yeah. So he says he was never supposed to enact it, or he was just a setup man. Blah 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 blah. I also learned that the DHS has stockpiled food, and Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, attended operational planning meetings with DHS with regard to using food as a weapon against the American people who might engage in a civil uprising if the globalists steal the election, blah, 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 blah. Which they are going to use food as a weapon because at the end of the day, they know that going back to Egypt, that's how the Pharaoh put all of all of the Egyptians under his subjection. It was through food.
That's right.
So they know that
not just the Egyptians, all the regions round about were getting hulled. They were getting hurt. They came and bowed down to Pharaoh willingly.
Exactly. Now it says here, food resource under it, section E, food resources means all commodities and products, simple, mixed, or compound, or complements to such commodities or products that are capable of being ingested by either human beings or animals, irrespective of other uses to which such commodities or products may be put at all stages of processing from the raw commodity to the products, therefore in vendable form for human and animal consumption. Food resource also means potable water, packaged in commercially marketable containers, all starches, sugars, vegetables, animals, or marine fats and oils, seed, cotton, hemp, flax, fiber, but does not mean any such material after it loses its identity, blah, blah, blah. So, and see what this executive order allows them to do is to basically confiscate the entire food system, right? Including what's in your house. So you got these preppers, right? You got these preppers that stupid enough to go on YouTube and show everybody all the food that they got. Well, the government is going to come and take that.
Just like when they confiscated gold. I don't know. It's just like people forget that this man is an absolute maniac. He will come and confiscate your stuff. It's just like we were like these crazy conspiracy theories, and now when we see all this stuff rolling out, yes, and this is nothing new. It's just more technological. That's it. It's the same type of oppression, except now you got an iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to World War II, they used to confiscate people's cars. They can confiscate anything they want under these executive orders, because there's more executive orders than this. So remember when they said you will own nothing?
And you'll be happy.
Yeah. So that's why they want these prices to come down the pipeline. Is there any more on that? Yeah, that's pretty much it on that. So what else we got?
I want to read the scripture real quick. Salvation of the elect put Luke 6:25. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. And we read in Revelation 18 how this place has glorified themselves and lived deliciously. So, I showed you the big Karen that was stuffing her face with McDonald's fries and Big Macs. She's going to hunger in that day. She's going to mourn and weep in that day, man. Okay? She might not even make it to that day. She might have a heart attack beforehand, but, we shall see.
But the scripture says men's hearts failing them for the
That's
things
right.
that come across the earth.
It's going to be easy to get her heart to fail. Right?
The gas prices might give her a heart attack.
That's right.
Right? She need a big old vehicle. Anyway, right. Another article here. The war in Ukraine is going to trigger the biggest global food crisis that any of us have ever seen, and it's key to understand that it's not just Ukraine. It's just that it's compounding a situation that already existed. Just like the economic situation, it's a compounding a situation that had already pre-existed. By the end of 2022, we are going to witness very serious shortages of food in many parts of the globe. In fact, World Bank President David Malpass is openly admitting that we are now facing a huge supply shock as a result of the war in Ukraine. Of course, we're already moving into a global food crisis even before the war erupted. According to the UN, worldwide food prices in February 2022 were 20% higher than they were in February 2021. And you got to understand that there's places in the world where most of people's money goes on food.
Bro, if you have a business and your expenses go up 20% by the year, you're done. Now if you have a business, you're a small business owner, and you increase your revenue from year 1 to year 2 by 7%, you did good. That was good. I mean, you're tracking. You're tracking. 7% increase on your profit. Now, if you increase your expenses by 20% in 1 year, you're getting smitty-act. Smacked. Okay? Go ahead, champ.
That's right. It says, on the normal conditions, Ukraine exports tremendous amounts of food and is considered to be one of the most important bread baskets on the entire planet. Unfortunately, everything has changed now, and this has pushed the global price of wheat up 55% since a week before the invasion happened. Ukrainian farmers have been forced to neglect their fields as millions flee, fight, or try to stay alive. Ports are shut down that send wheat and other food staples worldwide to be made into bread, noodles, and animal feed. And there are worries Russia, another agricultural powerhouse, could have its grain exports upended by Western sanctions. While there have not yet been global disruptions to wheat supplies, prices have surged 55% since a week before the invasion, and concerns about what could happen next if the war is prolonged. Countries that rely on affordable wheat exports from Ukraine could face shortages starting in July. Okay, and it ain't going to get no better. That's why they're going to have to come with more and more rationing and that new system. Everything's going to go down the pan. The money, the resources. It's going to lead to that time of great stress, great perplexity, great confusion. All right. War-ravaged Syria recently announced it would cut spending and ration staples. In nearby Lebanon, where a massive explosion at the Beirut port in 2020 destroyed the country's main grain silos. Remember that one, Ark?
Mm-hmm.
That was their grain silos. I wonder who did that. Anyway.
Very purposeful. Very, very purposeful.
You know, it was an accident. Anyway, authorities are scrambling to make up for a predicted wheat shortage, with Ukraine providing 60% of its supply. They are in talks with the US, India, and Canada to find other sources for a country already in financial meltdown. But you see, what more and more these countries are they're not gonna want to export. They're gonna save it for themselves.
Yep, it is not a war between Russia and the Ukraine. It's a war between the elite and your ass. That's what the war is about. That's why all the systems that they're using are financial. They're shutting down the financials. They're shutting down your ability to eat. That's what they're shutting down. Your ability to get a sandwich.
Literally.
Okay?
Literally.
War on you and your ability to live. Go ahead, champ.
Yeah, it says Ukraine supplies the EU with just 60% of its corn and nearly half of the key component in the grains needed to feed livestock. So meat is going to go down the pan. Meanwhile, crops all over the world are in surprisingly poor shape because weather conditions have been so strange. So you see, we've told you it's a both. It's not just that the elites are doing it. It's also the weather is also having an effect. So it's like two-pronged. Earlier today, I was stunned to learn that it is being projected that China's winter wheat crop, which you mentioned China before, could be the worst in history. Worst in history.
Yeah, not in 20 years, not 40 years, not in history.
And they got the highest population. The conditions of China's winter wheat crop could be the worst in history, the agriculture minister said on Saturday, raising concerns about grain supplies in the world's biggest wheat consumer. You know, a limited supply of soft white wheat, the primary type of wheat grown in inland Northwest, has helped lead to 6-year low. Oh, that's interesting. 6-year low. So 7 would be completion, right? 7 years of has helped lead to 6-year low for wheat exports from the United States. That's according to the USDA wheat report for February. The report also states that 71% of US winter wheat is being hit by drought. Look at that. This is mad. See, you ain't gonna get this watching them twerkers on TikTok, man. This is what's really going on. And then they're going to talk about the gasoline prices, which we already kind of know about that. What else have I got? Right, the fertilizer situation. So Russia's...
Now, did you explain about fertilizer and natural gas?
Yeah, it comes from natural gas. I think we did that in the last...
Okay.
Yeah. So if brothers didn't know, the fertilizers is actually manufactured. And one of the main components, I think you got urea, and the main components comes from actual natural gas. So what's happened is, imagine like through this Green New Deal, where they used to mainly get their energy from coal, which there's so much coal in the world, like, you know what I mean? It was fine. They even had scrubbers. This guy's the devil. The newest coal factories were actually very clean. They had like a system where the smoke would actually go through a water system to take out all the toxins. So pretty much what was being released from the coal plants was water vapor, you know. But what they would do was they would take a image, you know, that typical image of a factory, right, where you see the smoke coming out of the top of the factory, and they'd be like, see, it's polluting. But what they wouldn't tell people was that was steam.
That was actually just steam.
Right. So they shut down the coal plants in America, which I think Trump tried to open up a couple of them, but I don't think he did a good job anyway. But they shut down most of the coal plants in America, Britain the same. And so they became more reliant on these goofy ass renewables and gas. But the problem is that gas was previously mainly being used, you know, a little bit for energy, but mostly for fertilizer. So once you got a limited amount of gas, and now you want to use the gas to produce energy, that ultimately drives up the price of the gas, which then drives up the price of fertilizer. Now you're having this situation with Ukraine and the supply of gas and the movement of gas. It's even more compounding the price of fertilizer, right? So, and another thing to mention as well, because of the big sea, a lot of the fertilizer that was there couldn't get to Brazil and these places, right? Which, if you look at somewhere like Brazil, which, as you can see, they're a top importer of fertilizer in the world. Brazil, India, United States, China on down. These countries can't get fertilizer right now, and it's expensive, right? And if we look at the top exporters, you know, America doesn't make enough to fulfill its needs. Right now, what's the importance of fertilizer? Where we at? Okay, understanding fertilizer and its essential role in high yielding crops. So I want to get straight to the point. I know brother's got a... There we go. So a survey of US crop production estimated that the average corn yields would decline by 40% without nitrogen fertilizer. That's so just for corn alone, 40 without the fertilizer, that's 40% gone.
Boom.
Even greater declines would occur if other macronutrients like phosphorus and potassium were also limited. Numerous long-term studies have also demonstrated the contribution of fertilizer to sustaining crop yields. Blah, 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 blah. 57% drop. So listen, man, it's a serious thing when in Babylon when you ain't got these fertilizers, right? And they're talking about manure, but I used to play a farming game. Yeah, manure was crap. Yeah, there's just not enough of it. Because you need animals to produce manure, and what are we also having a problem, a shortage of? So yeah, it's peak. It's real peak right now. What have I got? Latest one: Italian truckers declare force majeure over gas pains and halt deliveries starting Monday. So that one, that's what's happening in Italy right now. The truckers, because of the petrol prices, are refusing to make deliveries. Oh boy! Now the truckers move everything, including the fertilizer. See where this is going? So the same issues that happened during the Big C are now happening, but for a different crisis, and it's just compounding the effect.
It's making it worse and worse and worse.
Now look at this, yeah, because we could go back to 2 Corinthians 15. It says, starving Ukrainians have resorted to attacking each other for food and looting pharmacies in besieged Mariupol. That's when good neighbors become good friends. Yeah, which that's what's going to happen. You're going to get violence. You know, these gangs that's out here right now selling crack on the street, they're going to start selling gasoline and food.
Man,
that's how it's going to be. You're going to get groups of men that are going to go look for food to sell at a premium. Look for petrol to sell it. I think that's what I read somewhere where they were taking the petrol out of people's cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think somebody had sent that. Did you send that? I think
it might have been me that sent that through. That's going to start happening. And then so law and order is going to have to come down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I read about in Masada. I was talking about famine. I was going in Masada, how reckless it was getting. You had men going, when you read in the Josephus, men going house to house every single day, coming to get what you had, man. People eating leather, people, you know. Yeah,
it's gonna get mad. This is 2 Corinthians 15 and 18. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Like these vibrant, bustling cities with the cafes, and you know, people are going out for lunch meets and out on the town at the night. That's gonna get shut down real quick.
Yeah.
That's going to get shut down. It's going to become terrible. It's going to become more dangerous.
Yes, sir.
You know, there's going to be, you know, more homeless people, you know, just more violence, more angry people, more people losing hope and just going mad.
God. Hey, wisdom and knowledge, Isaiah 33:6. I need you to calm down when you're writing your messages and read your message before you send it, because a lot of your messages don't make much sense. I mean, I can kind of understand, but it kind of gives me that, like, is this a troll vibe? You know what I mean? Like, just calm down, read your sentence before you hit send, so you can make sure and say it out loud to yourself, bro, before you send it. Okay.
Yeah, it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. Notice it says because of the lack of bread. So that's where we're heading. Daniel's 12:1. And for great tribulation. You see? And then if you notice in the grand scheme of the prophecy, it starts to go into World War III after.
Okay.
You see? So listen, things are gonna go downhill real fast, man. And it's gonna be, people are gonna be shocked because they thought everything was gonna go back to normal. You remember when they ended the lockdown, people were partying, and you know, I've noticed that ever since they ended the lockdowns, people have been partying a lot more. You know, they feel like they had their freedom, but boy, the mirth is gonna be taken out of the land, man.
Okay. Well, yeah, my brother said he driving. Well, you be safe, bro. Don't text and drive, bro.
Yeah, that's all the articles I had.
I'm gonna read this precept real quick, and then I guess you know I got one more clip. I'll play it, and then we can close out. This is 2 Ezra 16, and I'm gonna start at verse 17. Woe is me! Woe is me! Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these things shall come? All these things are tied together. Sorrows, mournings, people are mourning. And people are mourning because of the energy cost of food, and it's starting to strain out with famine and death. You know, we've had a global plague, you know, with the great sea, and now what we're starting to see is the beginning of wars. Okay, so these things are going to manifest. Verse 19 says, "Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all those things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victual shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case." They're going to think themselves to be in good case. Okay? They're going to think they're in good case. Okay? It says, "And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy." Okay? And so we're seeing these things increasing bit by bit by bit, and we're telling you that it's all controlled at this point right now, and it's being put in the minds of the elite to forward these things for the purpose of the World War III algorithm, for the purpose of the Most High's judgment. There's scourges that are being sent, but they're all doing it with these different ways of increasing these prices, pump the economy full of fake fiat dollars. Okay, go burn these wheat fields. Don't let them trade over here. Restrict those boats. Create a memorandum that makes the truckers go on strike and help them organize it. Okay.
I got something that I just pulled up. Let me show the people this. This is from 2015. See, they always be working in the background. Like I said, while the women be twerking on TikTok, the nerds be working. Yeah, women be twerking, nerds be working. What does this say? International Conference on Advanced Computing Technologies and Applications. Automated.
Can you zoom in on that one, bro?
Salakia.
There we go. Now we have been there.
Says automated ration distribution system.
Look at that.
Yeah, ration distribution system means distribution of essential commodities to a large number of people.
What university did they do that at?
Student at University of Texas.
You see, this is how they come up with a lot of stuff at these universities. Is experimental grounds. people that are trying to get their doctorates in social science or whatever, they put these people on the case. And so all of these different articles are written, and the elite use it, man. Meanwhile, down at the bottom of the university, they chopping up bodies and experimenting on it, man. This is what the universities are for when you get up to the doctorate level. And these students don't even know what they're contributing themselves to. They think they're just trying to make a good grade for their thesis. Okay? Sorry, I just wanted to add that point.
Yeah, in India, they've had systems, rationing systems already as well that they were testing out here. Food rationing system digitized in 24 states. That's in India. Listen, this stuff is going to be rolled out.
100%.
Like Guy said in the video, that's exactly what it's going to be.
That's right.
So, they have the technology. The supply chain has been digitized for a long time now.
That's right.
So these CBD, and ain't it a coincidence that while this is all happening, CBDCs has literally the scream, the talk of CBDCs has gotten louder and louder. Tell me I'm lying.
Yep.
At first, you never heard nothing about no CBDC. All of a sudden, oh yeah, the government's thinking of the digital dollar. Biden passing a executive order. We need to study this. They don't need to study anything. They've been studying CBDCs for the last decade. When they're telling you that they're studying it, that means it's already ready to be rolled out. Who are they trying to fool? Do you see the collapse, the crisis that's coming? It's all leading towards the mark of the what, man, and that's what we're trying to show you. And it ain't gonna take much.
Yep.
Yeah,
we've been telling you. The brother posted the universal basic income. We've been talking about that over and over and over again since even 2016, 2017. They need those systems. Okay, they need those systems. I'm gonna play this last little clip and then we can roll out. Okay,
None of that is true. There are worsening bottlenecks, rising inflation, and a contraction in global growth. Russia produces 12% of the world's oil supply and exports 18% of the world's wheat consumption. Ukraine accounts for 25% of the global wheat production. You say that again, 18% of all the wheat in the world comes out of Russia. 25.
Bruh, that's a lot. That's a lot, dog. If I hit you with an 18% tax on your check, you're going to be looking for me.
8% comes out of Ukraine. Gee, that doesn't sound very good for bread around the world. Could we play the John Kerry clip? Because he's very concerned about climate refugees. Listen to this. Listen carefully to what he says.
We're already seeing climate refugees around the world.
Are we?
If you think migration has been a problem in Europe from the Syrian war, or even from what we see now, where do you see 100 million people for whom the entire food production capacity has collapsed?
The entire food production capacity has collapsed. From global warming, really? Which is more likely? That 100 million people are starving to death because of everything that's going on. All these corporations getting behind the Great Reset. They say they're going to redesign farming all over the world by 2030 from seed to the plate on your table. And then the war on top of it. Now, here's the problem with inflation quickly. This will be the first time we've had a recession, and we're about to go into a recession unlike any others, and it could go into a full-blown depression. Please, please, buy food. Buy things that you have to buy. They will be cheaper today than they will be in 6 months. If you look at what the Fed can do, because the Fed always just says, oh, well, there's a recession. What we're going to do is we're going to release a lot of money. And then that money will finance you know, people getting back into businesses and small business, creating jobs, because small businesses create 70% of all jobs, but we don't believe in any of that anymore. In 1957, we had 3.5% on the Fed fund rate. So in other words, the interest rate was 3.5%. The recession of 1960, 4%. 69, the rate was 10.5. 73, 13%. 79, 16%. 1981, it was 20%. That's what it cost to go get a loan. The Fed raised the rates to 20%. 1989, it was almost 11%. 2000, almost 7%. 2007, 5.3%. 2019, 2.5%. This is the first time we have zero interest rate. I mean, at least close to zero, if not zero. There's no more tool in the toolbox for the Fed. They can't, what are they going to do? Print more money? That's a really bad idea. Go to zero? That's a really bad idea.
And they're going the opposite way, right?
Well, they're saying they are. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem. We have printed 80% of all of the dollars in the world. Okay? Think of all those dollars that are sitting in vaults all over the world. 80% of the currency that is currently out has been printed in the last 2 years. We were, when we first started looking into...
You want to talk about a bot yet? And you can go watch the rest of this video, man. The point has been made. We've been beating it and grinding it in your mind and telling you what it is, man. Going over these prophecies over and over and over and over again, which we're going to continue to do. Okay? Because all you false, fake Hebrew Israelite groups that don't want to let the people know what the MOTB really is, what the mark of the beast really is, the people are going to know where they heard the truth. Okay? Through the spirit power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, great millstone, have been telling you these things. These systems are lining themselves up to lock in on what we read in Job, the 20th chapter, what we read in Revelation 13, 14, and 20. Okay, what we read in Jeremiah 49, 50, 2nd Ezra 15, 16. It's pointing in a particular direction. Okay, we see it coming. Okay, this is the World War III algorithm that the Most High has set. Okay, piece by piece by piece, man. All right. Do you have any other closing statements required, Quan? Because I'm gonna close it out. You know, you're on mute, champ. I got you. You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Yeah, Slaki, I was gonna say, I've sent you a clip in the private. Yeah, can you play that at like 52 seconds?
Oh yeah.
We gotta let our boy speak, man. Real quick before we go out.
I got you, bro.
Revelations 12 and 12, man. You heard what it said. You know, this man's gonna come down in great wrath, knowing that he have but a short time. Things are moving fast.
Oh, my man here. What clip? Where you want me started at the top?
From about 52 seconds.
52 seconds. It's funny because it started me out right there, didn't it? Let's make them big so you can see them. There you go.
This business, civil society, and this revolution will come at a breathtaking speed. It will be like a tsunami. And actually, it's not just a digital revolution. It's digital, of course, physical, it's nanotechnology, but it's also biological. And those three dimensions provide the particular force to this revolution. So
you heard him there.
It's also biological.
He said it's gonna come at the breathtaking speed, like a tsunami. That's what it is, you know. And they signaled the beginning. The big C was the catalyst. They said that, and now they're just pushing. They're running with this thing, which is good for us because that means we almost out of here. So keep running, Esau.
God, hey, and wisdom and knowledge, bro. You ain't fit nobody. I was just telling you. You know what I'm saying? You didn't do nothing wrong. You was trying to speak, but you know, you driving. So I was like, what is the brother saying? So it wasn't that big of a deal, bro. It's all good. And the only reason I called it out is just for other people who might be doing the same thing, because you know we want to be edifying. We want to make sure that we clear people reading the comment board, so we can keep a clear understanding of things. You know. All right. So I feel like this is a good scripture to close out on. Isaiah 55:6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Okay. And yeah, you know. So, we close to the end of this thing. We're getting we ramping up until the end of this thing. So man, we'll be staying locked in on the events. Just from this lesson, I wrote a couple of notes on some things that I want to go in on. I might even go in on them on the highways and byways. Yeah. Do you have any closing statements, Doc?
Yeah, man. Like as the scripture say, man, be circumspect. We're in that time now where you know anything can happen at any moment. To be honest with you, so you got to stay circumspect, stay in the spirit.
God, hey man, call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you. Hakim out there pushing words of sincerity and truth. Shalom.
Hey.